Hello, Tiffany here with Cars Crafty Creations. Today's video is doing a walkthrough of my newly remodeled craft room. It has been about a year, little less than a year and a half before we actually started renovating my craft space. It has gone through several renditions since we moved here in December of 2023, and so it is finally done with the renovations. Now storage wise and organization, that is like ever changing, and so that is, as my husband put it today when I was talking to him, he says like a living organism that is always changing, and so he's absolutely right. As you get more things for your craft space, then you need more storage, which then changes the storage you have. So but this video is actually not going to be on the storage of my space. You'll see some of the storage solutions I have, but I really wanted to do two videos, one of the remodel and the furniture and the things I did to make it very whimsical and what I was going for, and then I'll do a whole nother video on my storage solutions, because I'm still getting everything in its place. Everything has its place, but I'm still putting everything there. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so one of the things in this room also is when we moved into this room, this is actually, I think, the living or family room, and it was all carpet. And the carpet in this house all needed to be taken out and thrown away because the previous owners just let their animals go, like this was their house, and ruined every bit of carpet in this house. And so when we first moved in, it was like, we need to get the carpet out as fast as humanly possible because it's not even sanitary to live in this. And so we ripped this carpet out we ripped it all out at the same time. We had piles of carpet on our driveway forever till we could dump it all. Anyway, so the floor here, a lot of the floor in the house is hardwood floor, except this room, the entryway, and the kitchen, and the bathrooms. And so this room was just plywood. And so the first thing we did was we used the Kills paint and painted the floor to seal in whatever residual was left behind from taking the carpet out. And then our dogs were like licking the floor, and it was just a mess. And we have one dog, she licks everything. I don't know, it's weird. My mom's like, you should look and see what that is because that's just weird. And I'm like, it's just like her anxiety or something. So anyway, so we sealed it with the Kills paint, and that bought us some time. And then I did the entryway floor, and so in order to make that kind of match, I painted the floor the same color as the entryway floor, and that bought us some time. But then finally, over our spring break, we finally put in the flooring in here. So I'm going to okay, so this is a very, very unconventional floor, right? So it looks like hardwood. Oh, that was the color of that's my entryway floor that I painted. And so I had painted this brown in here. So when it came time to do the floor, which is the biggest part of this job, besides painting everything, we got actually cedar planks. So this is stuff that goes in your closet, and it's very unconventional because it's an extremely soft wood that you wouldn't want to use it for a floor, but it was perfect because it matched up with the existing hardwood floor. So we have not renovated this flooring yet, but it matched up depth wise to this. So this is one of our other upcoming projects we'll be doing to blend these two floors together. But I was absolutely thrilled with how it came out. I have dented it and dinged it, but you know, some people pay good money for some dents and dings in their flooring, so that's just, I don't have to pay good money for it. It just happened. So I was really thrilled with how the flooring came out, and that was probably what was holding us up the longest with getting this job done, was just because we don't know what we're doing, but we learned. And then painting this brick. So the brick was already painted, which I would not purposely paint brick. I don't know. I don't think I would. But this was already painted and it was yellow. And so I had to paint it, and I want to say that took forever to paint that brick. And I had to do 2 or 3 coats on it, and I still think in the right lighting, the yellow still comes through, which I'm not that thrilled about, but I am not painting it again because that was a job. And then I put this molding up, which I've actually been putting up in pretty much every part of our house. These rooms kind of join together. There's this big doorway in between the living room, family room, and so I will be putting the trim in that room too eventually. But I kept the whole house the same color, except specific rooms are their own color, but the main house is this color, which is Whiskers from Pittsburgh Paint, which I think is Menard's brand of paint. And so it's Menard's brand of paint, the swatch, Whiskers, but I have it mixed in Dutch Boy because that's actually my favorite paint to paint with is Dutch Boy. And so I just have them mix it in that. So anyway, I wanted to share that because this is really what has been holding up doing my craft room. So when it was time to start figuring out what I wanted to do with the furniture, I was going to traditionally go white. I had bought a entertainment center on Facebook Marketplace, and it was a 9-piece entertainment center. And so it was cherry wood finish, and so I knew that was not going to stay the color that I had got it at, and so I knew I was going to paint it. But I was going to do the traditional color of white because everyone in their craft space does white furniture. And when I was telling my friends about that, because they want, you know, white lightens the spaces up, when I was telling my friends about that, they were just like very surprised and were like, I wouldn't have expected you to go with white furniture, Tiffany, because you do color on everything. And so then I felt like I was challenged to find a color that I could paint my furniture. And so when I was thinking about the colors, I really love yellow. And in fact, this Hutch right there, I saw on the side of the road, and it was like, it was on for sale, like at a yard sale one day, and then the yard sale was finished and it never went away. And so this Hutch was bright yellow. Actually, it was more of like an old yellow, like from like the, I think 80s, when they would do like brown speckles in their paint on their furniture. So it was yellow with brown specklies all over it. And so my mom, one day I was gone with a friend on a trip, and I had been antique shopping at the coast with my friend when we went there, and I was seeing how expensive all the Hutches were. And so I called my husband. I'm like, remember that yellow Hutch on the side of the road? Can you go and see if you can buy it? And so him and my mom went there and just walked up to the house and went and asked if they could buy it. And I think we paid like 100 or 150, I can't remember, for this big old gigantic, extremely heavy Hutch. And it has traveled with me throughout the years as the yellow Hutch. My mom really didn't like the yellow Hutch, And so when I told her I was going to paint all the furniture in this room, she's like, even the yellow hutch? I was starting to get used to the yellow hutch. So anyway, that's the story of the yellow hutch. So when I was trying to decide on a color for my furniture, I would have gravitated towards painting them all yellow, but then I wasn't really sure about that. So I came to this picture that I have. It's actually a puzzle, and I will. So this is a puzzle that I made. One of the famous brand of puzzles. I can't remember, but my friend Tracy would definitely know the brand. But this is a puzzle that I made, and then it actually didn't have one piece. One piece was missing by the time I got finished with this whole puzzle, and so I actually painted in the missing piece. So you probably can't see it, or you might be able to, but it is, I'm trying to get it focused. The bottom of the clock there is missing its puzzle piece. So I actually painted in the puzzle piece and made it like a game at our 20th anniversary party. And then my dad made me the frame to go for it. So I was looking through this picture, this puzzle, trying to come up with a color for my furniture because I knew this was going to be like the centerpiece. And so I actually was looking in this area for my color, and I came upon getting something along this shade for my furniture. So that is how my furniture color came to be. So let's take a look at the furniture, the color, and the extra things that I did to it. Okay, so this is 4 of the 9 pieces. Not sure if you could tell the color or not, but it is a top and bottom cabinet. So cabinet on the bottom and one on the top with glass. And then it has 4 of these rounds that go on the edges of them. And so I painted them all the same color. So this is, like I said, 4 of the pieces, and they were pretty basic. So it was like the cherry wood colored finish on all of the pieces, which I did not really look forward to painting because it's the shiny stuff. I really didn't want to have to sand 9 pieces of furniture, so I went and got Valspar's cabinet paint, and I've always had very good luck with cabinet paint. Their cabinet paint, I haven't used any other brand before, but it goes on like a dream. There's like hardly almost no brush marks because I used the brush and the roller to put this on, and they can color any color that you want, and so that was really good. I think I did 2 coats on it, and it actually covered the red cherry color really well. Some I had to do 3 coats. It was just depending on how thin I put the layer on. So the roller was easier. It got on thicker with the roller, so I only did 2 coats of the roller, but the cutting in parts, I think I did 3 because it was just going on a lot thinner. And so this is a section of it. And because it was plain and basic, I really wanted to emphasize the whimsical of the Alice in Wonderland motif. And so I actually ended up getting these wood pieces. They are actually roses, which goes along the theme. And then I got this piece as well, which is wood. And then through Prima Marketing, they have a rabbit mold. And so I got the rabbit mold to put on as a decorative element to the cabinet. So I did that with all of the cabinet doors. And then I painted them the color, and then I did I think it's a rose gold or a antique gold rub and buff over the whole thing. I know I first did gold rub and buff, and then I did like another, like a rose gold color over the top. So I did that on all of the cabinet pieces. And then on the edges, I'm gonna turn this. On the edges, I did that gold waxing all the way around on all the edges of the doors and the cabinets. And then on all of the glass doors, which is really unfortunate, but I put these flower decals on all of the glass doors. And they look really cool like that, but once I added all my stuff in, you really can't see them much anymore. You can sometimes, but I'm thinking about if I light the cabinets, then they might stand out a little more. I even tried putting vellum behind it, and you'll see that on another one to test if that would be a good idea. I then covered all my shelves in this, I believe it's wallpaper, because contact paper really only comes in a few different designs. So I believe this is wallpaper, but the reason I did this versus leaving the shelves painted is because I knew I would be sliding stuff in and out all the time, and I really didn't want it to scrape up the paint. I'd rather it scrape that up, because then I can replace it when I need to. So that is how I did these cabinets. So this is actually a really old metal filing cabinet. It has where there's 2 rows of 8.5 by 11 file folders, and I've been dragging this thing around with me forever, and I'm not really ever willing to give it up because it holds so much paper, and it's really heavy duty, and it doesn't fall over when I open the drawers that are extremely heavy. Like, this thing will not move. Like, if a tornado came through here, I'm pretty sure this might stay because it is so dang heavy. I can't move it for anything. And so anyways, so in order for me to make it special and fit with the rest of the theme, I got some more wood inlays, which I will show you. So I got some more, they're not inlays, they're just wood decorative pieces. I ordered them all online because the stores really only have a very limited supply and style. And so I got all of this stuff online. And then I glued them on with E6000 and Gorilla Glue super glue. And then I bought these wrought iron feet from Hobby Lobby, and I put them on all 4 corners of the filing cabinet. So not only is it heavy with the paper, but it also has wrought iron feet. And then I used the same gold wax as I did on the other parts. And then my dad had made me this top ages ago when I first started my craft room. And so then I just got some trim and trimmed up the end of it. I was trying to make every piece of furniture in here cohesive together. So it looks like, you know, not the IKEA furniture that's all the same, but at least all the same kind of themed. This is the other part of that humongous hutch, and so I did the very same thing with it. Here's where I tried to do the vellum on those decals, so you could see this one has the vellum behind it and this one does not. And so I haven't really been convinced if I like it or not. So if you guys like it, please let me know in the description, and if so, then I maybe do the rest of them, because it's on these 2, the 2 over there, and then the 2 down there. So anyway, this is the rest of that 9-piece hutch, in which I did the exact same thing to those doors as I did to the other ones. I did the waxing on all the edges with the gold wax. I did leave these shelves painted only because That's how I envisioned the bookcase being. I don't slide these things in. Well, that's not true. I have a lot of template books that I do use. So we'll just see how it holds up to the paint and the movement of bringing things back and forth. And then same with this over here. I did just paint those. It doesn't look like I did the wax on these. I can't say that I finished everything. I missed this whole section, but that's okay. I can always do it any old time. So that's that unit. And then my sewing machine is here. This is my grandma's sewing machine. The machine, it works, but it has issues. It needs to go to a repair person. I do hope to do that one day. And then this is just this is not my style here. It's very plain, but it's functioning right now. Perhaps one day I will look for another bookcase that's a little more ornate to hold that stuff. This is my husband's crafting space, video gaming, and video editing. He does do his own video. And so this is his space to hang out with me while I'm doing my stuff. And so that was just something we wanted to do. He does have his own creative space, like his own room upstairs. But this is so he can hang out while I am hanging out in mine all the time. Right here, this is actually my workstation. So I'm gonna go over here and show you my workstation. So I have this big table, this is our actual kitchen table that I bought at our old house. And it has like 6 chairs and it has the leaf and everything. And it just worked out better in the craft room because we don't need it at the kitchen table anyway. So technically my workspace is right there. And this space is to catch everything else. It's usually full of projects that are waiting or things that need to be stored away, put away. I do like to put all of my stuff away before I start new projects. So anyway, so I have this, it's a standing desk and it goes up and down, but it's usually always in that position because I pretty much work standing the whole time. The only time I'm not standing is when I know what I'm building and what I'm making, and I don't need to get up and down a million times. So for the most part, I'm standing all the time, even if it is most of the day. But it's nice because I can look out the window and we do get wildlife here, so I can see the wildlife and I can see what's going on or a storm. And so that is always why I like to sit there. As I said, this spot here. So this is the kitchen table. And because I have my own workstation, in fact I have 2. So this is another workstation that I have, which I can stand at and watch TV. I can look outside, but there's usually a tripod here in which I can film over this space also, which I was doing when I was making the Celebrate Everyday index cards, which I'll probably resume doing. I just wasn't super inspired by some of the themes. And so anyway, so I decided that this is a great space to store stuff under. So I bought all of these, they're 12 by 12s, so they fit 12 by 12 paper, and they store mostly embellishments. That's what I'm going to go over in my next video, but it's like that on both sides. So there's just storage on both sides under this table, and then the tabletop is a surface that I can use. This right here, this mantle piece right here, is actually another entertainment center top, I believe, that I drug all the way from California to here. but it was only $10 and I knew that it would fit this space perfectly. And so we hauled it here. My husband cut the backing out. It had a board on the back, which we then used for the tabletop, the top of it, and put it in as our mantle. So it functions to hold lots of bottles and jars and decorations. These, everyone knows, are from Hobby Lobby, and they store a lot of my paper. So here we are back to this yellow, and this is the infamous yellow Hutch that my mom refers to that is now no longer yellow. But what I did with this was I actually put like window film over all the glass. And so that way I can store a bunch of random things in here and you can't really see it that terribly bad. It kind of camouflages the storage that is in there. So that's one of the things I did to this Hutch. This is all the original hardware. I just used the gold rub and buff on it, and that worked out well for fixing that situation. So there's the hardware. You could see the film. Yes, you can still see through it, but it's not like adding a whole bunch of clutter, extra clutter, because of it being completely see-through, because it is jam-packed of stuff. So this space, I haven't really figured out what to do with it yet, but here's another. So this is the cabinet doors on here. So I actually bought those wood pieces also online and adhered them to the cabinets, just so all of my cabinets have some of that extra details to them. And then that's all original hardware that I just put the rub and buff over. So, and then this is a plastic multi-tier thing that I just added kind of the whimsical Alice in Wonderland check pattern to it to kind of hide what's in there, and everything is labeled. And the very last piece of furniture, which I did not do anything with, is this Hutch. It's a fairly deep Hutch. I've had this for ages upon ages. I got it in an antique store for $150, and I have drug it around with me forever also. It came like this. I had considered doing like a brush technique with the furniture paint on here, just so that I could tie it in with the furniture, but I didn't do a very good job of it, and I needed to spend, like, this side looks a lot better than the other side. I think my brush was not dry enough, and so I may do that at one point. So we'll see. So as I mentioned, this is my crafting space. This is actually where I do my filming on this very old Canon camera, but it works. And so I can look outside. But also what I did was I put privacy film up on the front windows, because yes, I have blinds up there, but my cat Seeger has destroyed all the blinds in the house. Not all of them, but any blind he can access, he has destroyed. So I wanted to not have, I wanted still some privacy, but not have the blinds down so he can destroy them again. And so I put privacy film on here so it's kind of mirrored on the other side. So really the only time people can see in is when it's lit up inside. So like right now they could see in because I have the lights on, or at night when I have the lights on. But then I can pull these kind of semi-sheer curtains. But I'm not sure that I like the privacy film. For the reason that I think I don't like it is because I think it casts a blue shade in here, and it does cut down on some of the lighting, which I don't like, because crafters need their lighting, and especially when you're videoing. I really like natural lighting for my videos. That doesn't always happen because sometimes I video into the night, and so I have a light here, but it does make the colors definitely different. So I'm not sure about this, so stay tuned. We'll see if I actually keep it or not. I've contemplated pulling it down a few times, and then I thought about putting some garden lattice panels out there so I can still see out. I can still get natural lighting, but maybe people's eyes would see that before it sees into the house. So I'm still thinking about that one. Anyway, okay, I wanted to share that. That is the craft room tour. It doesn't go into depth on my storage. I'm going to have another video coming out, I'm gonna say late August. It may be sooner, because I'm still trying to put things away, and I just got a new one of these multicolor ones that I need to shuffle some product around, and so I'm hoping that I will get the storage part done soon, because every space in this room is jam-packed full of future potential projects. So anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you did, please like and subscribe and come back for the storage video. Thanks, bye.